We have a very special and meaningful presentation, and we thank our sponsors, Alberta Securities Commission, for their generous support in helping us to bring it to you. The month of June is National Indigenous History Month, and as part of that, today we celebrate National Indigenous Peoples Day. It is an opportunity for all Canadians to recognize and learn more about the diverse cultures and contributions of the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis Indigenous peoples of Canada. Today, we are most honored to have traditional knowledge keeper Cheryle Chagnon-Greyeyes joining us. Cheryle will share the sacred teachings of the medicine wheel, which reminds us to balance all four aspects of our being. Cheryle will also pay tribute to the children and families affected by the residential school system tragedy. Cheryle is a member of Muskeg Lake Cree Nation, Saskatchewan, Treaty 6, and resides in Calgary, Treaty 7, Alberta, and earned a BA in Communications and a BA in Canadian Native Studies from the University of Calgary. She has been an Indigenous activist within Calgary and area for the past decade, marching, singing, and drumming for women, MMIWG2S, Indigenous justice, championing the environment, and speaking up for those who cannot. Cheryle retired from the Native Centre of the University of Calgary and was former leader of the Green Party of Alberta, 2018 to 2019. She provides service as a traditional knowledge keeper, sharing Indigenous protocol, territorial acknowledgements, prayers, and ceremony upon request. Cheryle is also the mother of two, Kokum, grandmother to two beautiful grandsons, and step Kokum to two beautiful twin granddaughters. Cheryle, welcome and thank you for joining us today. For those who have joined us previously for presentations, you know that we always pay our respects by providing land acknowledgement before we begin. Today, we are honored to have Cheryle provide the land acknowledgement in a most meaningful way for us. Cheryle, thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. Hi there. My name on my driver's license says Cheryle Chagnon-Greyeyes. I have been gifted with a beautiful name in the Sweat Lodge. My Cree name is Nanantaway Esquayo Yahokapimotate. I am healing woman who walks far. I am from Treaty 6, Muskeg Lake in Saskatchewan, and I wish to honor the fact that we are here in Calgary, Mokinstis, which means elbow in Blackfoot, and this has been my home since 1993. I wish to honor and recognize and acknowledge the people of this land of Treaty 7, the Blackfoot Confederacy of Kainai, Bikuni, and Siksika, the Dene people from Sarsitutina, which is to our west, the Stoney Nakoda people of Morley, Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nation. We also honor the fact that we are in the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. I acknowledge the fact that this land was here and taken care of by the Indigenous peoples for millennia. This has also been a place of coming together, of joining. It always has been. Calgary has been a central place for sharing, for learning, and I think the Stampede is a very good example of that continuation of that tradition of coming together for sharing and learning in a good and fun way. I wish to acknowledge that today is June 21st, the summer solstice. This is Canada's Indigenous Peoples Day. And I'm grateful and humbled and very willing to share my teachings in a good way with all of you, each and every one of you. I'd like to start off, as I said, talking a little bit about the situation here in Canada. My mother was a residential school survivor, so I am a survivor of survivor. And her experience was very different in that she was very much indoctrinated and assimilated the way the intent was to kill the Indian in the child. However, my mother is 90 years old. She is a survivor. She has her wits about her. She is a raving Catholic, loves her church, loves her community, and is very active and physically very capable, still drives. My mom still drives at 90. And I acknowledge the fact that she is a survivor. This last month has been filled with sorrow because we know now that not all children who went there survived. We knew that before. The stories that the survivors told to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, to their communities, to their counselors, are coming now to bear with evidence as we find the bodies of 215 children at the Kamloops Residential School. Originally, the school had said 51 children died. Then where did all these other bodies come from? So this is but the tip of the iceberg, and we're seeing that as truth is revealed across Canada. Today, this week, this month, and this coming year will be filled with sorrow because we know that we're finding those bodies. We know that our intent is to bring those children home, as we say, home to their reserves, to their families, to have closure, and to have acknowledgement that they indeed lived lives, albeit short, that were of value, and they were loved by their community, loved by their families. So we take a moment just to say thank you for coming to truth. Thank you for sharing your sorrows with us. It makes me very sad to think these children never got to become our elders. That's how they would be today. So we acknowledge that loss and that loss of potential. And we work towards doing better for our children. In the Indigenous way of thinking, you think of 7 generations. 7 generations back, what would my ancestors think of the choices I'm making today? 7 generations ahead, how are the choices I'm making today going to impact my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, 7 generations ahead? So it makes us stop and think and be more considerate, and I believe to be more kind. The 7 sacred teachings of the Cree are courage, honesty, humility, love, respect, truth, and wisdom. And if we make our choices and our decisions based on those teachings, we'll always do what's right. We'll make choices out of respect, out of kindness, out of honoring our beautiful Mother Earth that gives us life. With that in mind, I want to share my teachings of the medicine wheel. I received my teachings from Kakakwe and Associates about 15 years ago now, who is Cree teachers from Regina. So it aligns with my nation as a Cree woman. And what I'm sharing, as I said, is my teachings. How you choose to interpret them are up to you. I'm giving them to you at this time. I just ask that you are humble and respectful when you share these teachings in a good way. Also, be kind to yourself. Some of the teachings are going to hit right in your heart, and you'll feel it and you'll know it, and your body understands truth. Some of the teachings will go right over your head, and that's okay. That wasn't meant for you to pick up today. However, the greatest gift is some of those teachings that you thought flew beyond you will come back to you. That is the gift. That is the teaching. So honor that and be kind to yourself. And you don't have to take notes, but you can if you want to. I just want to teach this as a way of understanding Indigenous ways of thinking and knowing and learning and growing. May I go into my PowerPoint? Thank you. As I mentioned, I am an Indigenous facilitator and knowledge keeper, and my reserve is Muskeg Lake Cree Nation, which is just north of Saskatoon, about an hour's drive north of Saskatoon. The medicine wheel is a teaching tool. It's a metaphor. And it's about keeping our lives and ourselves in balance. When we talk about balance, we mean balance between our mind, our heart, our body, and our spirit, because that is who we are. We are like the medicine wheel, 4 parts of the whole. It is also about moderation, about having enough, not taking too much or giving too little. It is also about acceptance of all that is around us, acceptance of the people in your life, the things that happen to you. And there are many different interpretations of the medicine wheel. Please note, none of them are wrong. It is just your interpretation. It's very much a metaphor that you use to guide you on this path of life. This medicine wheel is from up at the top of Nose Hill. It is the Blackfoot Confederacy consecrated medicine wheel. It was put there in 2015 to honor the 4 members of the Blackfoot Confederacy: the Siksika, the Kainai, and the Piikani, and the South Kainai, known as the Montana Blackfeet in the United States. In the Blackfoot Confederacy, there is no border. We are brothers and sisters all across this nation. This shows you how this space, this consecrated space, was put together to honor the nations originally here, which are the Blackfoot nations. We are in Blackfoot Confederacy territory. If you get the opportunity, I invite you to go up. It's on the east side of the hill. You can park in the parking lot between 64th and McKnight. And there's a little bit of a path, an old road that goes up that hill, right up to where this beautiful medicine wheel circle is situated. And again, it's about different ceremonies, different reasons, what it means. And it is to consecrate the land as being sacred and our connection to our Mother Earth. The medicine wheel is a circle, and like the circle, it starts with a center point, always. Remember a compass? Use a compass to make a circle. You have to have your center point. You are your center point in your personal medicine wheel. Creator is a source for me, and is that center point in my life. For without a center point, there is no circle. The circle encompasses all that is, all that was, all that ever will be. It is the circle of life, and it shows how each and every one of us are connected, not only to one another, but to everything on earth, all my relations. We mean that, not just the 2-leggeds, that's the 4-leggeds, the animals and birds that fly, those beautiful people, we call them the ocean people that live in the water, the standing people, the trees, the grandmothers and grandfathers, the rocks. All have spirit, all are connected, all are gifts from Mother Earth, and they are our relations. We are no better than each and everything that is on this planet, our planet. The medicine wheel is also an inside and outside, the dichotomy and the balance between black and white, life and death, right and wrong, between the past and the future, that up, that down, that focus on balance. That is the overall teaching of the dichotomy of the medicine wheel. For me, north is represented by the color white. When I think of the east, I think of the rising sun. That's how I think of yellow for the east. When I think of south, I think of the color red. For me, I think of the warmth of that wonderful sun. Mexico comes to mind, the equator. So I think of the heat and the warmth, the color red. And in the west, for this purpose, I use black. And it honors the strength of the mountains and how we're all connected, and we need that strength and that connection to Mother Earth. It is also about the continuing circle of life. Today is the first day of summer, the summer solstice. And this is something that we can count on. Although in Calgary, sometimes you get like all 4 seasons in one day, I know. So we have our summer, which starts today. And this is a time of abundance, of growing, of things turning green, of sharing that in a good way. When we go to the fall, it is a time of slowing down, of harvesting what we have planted over the summer and spring, and about coming together and preparing for the winter, but coming together in a good way, enjoying the fall of the leaves, enjoying the culmination of ceremony in coming together. When we think of the winter, we think of the white snow that blankets our earth, causes things to sleep, to slow down, the hibernating animals, us hiding and hunkering down in our homes. Winter is a time of rest, is a time of thoughtfulness and meditation. It is a time of slowing down and healing. It is our opportunity, as the animals are, to sleep. And then in the spring comes new life. And again, winter's cold dissipates into the warmth of spring. And it is about that balance that spring will always follow winter. Sooner or later, it's going to come. So it's recognizing and honoring that there is time needed for all of these things to take place in their time. When people talk about Indian time, it's not about an excuse for being late. It's about doing things when the Creator says it's time. When we do ceremony, we ask Creator, is this the time we start Sundance? It's based on different teachings. I was blessed to be able to take part in a Stony Sundance as a Sundancer. And we picked the tree when the leaves had started to bud. And that is the poplar tree, which stands in the middle. So again, the earth told us what time it was to start our ceremony. This picture is a perfect illustration about the medicine wheel and the seasons. Our winter, our beautiful blooms in spring, our wonderful green in the summer, yay today, and of course the beautiful fall colors. We honor that time, and we know that it will always come back. We are blessed, and we can count on our seasons to let us know our connection to Mother Earth, for we are but expressions of our dear Mother Earth. When I think about us as a people, we are born helpless, alone, naked. We love our babies. We love our infants. They are part and parcel of us. A child is a gift from Creator, but it is only our responsibility to steward that child. And when that infant grows to youth and starts making their own decisions, and yes, talking back, that is them expressing themselves as a growing individual, transitioning between infant to adult. And that's why many times youth have struggles. And I know in the Indigenous community, we have lost many youth to suicide, to addiction and abuse, to violence, because they need the guidance from our elders. They need to know what is expected of them and where to go on this path. And also to know they're not alone. They always have family. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to nurture a youth. It takes a village to embrace us as adults. It takes a village to honor us as elders. When we become the adult, that is when we have a time of responsibility. We work. We prepare for the coming of the children. We prepare for the exiting of the elder. We prepare for our turn, if we are blessed to live that long by Creator, to become an elder. My mother is 90 years old. I'm so blessed to have her as my elder, as my mother. She's a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother. And she is healthy and well, and I am truly blessed to have her as my mother, as my elder. This shows the connection of family, and that we are an extension of our family. We have that blood that connects us. But it's not just blood, it's also spirit, which explains adoption. Within the Indigenous community, adoption is very common. We'll adopt adults into our families because we love them. They are part and parcel of our ways of learning, our ways of sharing, and they are part of our family. So we honor all of our relatives, those who have come before us, those who have yet to be born. We honor our connection and our joy with family. Just as yesterday was Happy Father's Day. My father passed in 2000. He was a very good man, and I'm very blessed and honored to have been his child. I know many, many dads are out there, and many people have lost their fathers. So yesterday was also a time to appreciate the fatherhood and the people who are act as fathers in our lives. People will say, what's my totem? It's really up to you, but this is just where I'm coming from. Please understand, these are my understandings and teachings. I like to start in the north with the bear. And when I think of the north, I think of the polar bear, that beautiful big white bear that is the denizen of the north. That is the power of the north when you think of the strength of the bear. And a bear will never, ever leave their cubs, or rarely, if ever, they will fight to the death. So mama bear is very, very strong. And the bear represents that strength of family and connection. The bear represents fearless, strong, courageous, dependable, wise, and patient. They know when to go into the woods, into the cavern, to hibernate. We can watch the bears when we want to know what kind of a winter it's going to be, because they'll eat a lot more if it's going to be a cold winter. The eagle, I think of the eagle as the rising sun in the east, rising high, high, high into the sky, able to see. The eagle represents vision, clarity, represents truth, represents dreams, is our connection to our creativity, and also that sense of justice and what is right and what is fair. In the south, I have the wolf. The wolf represents respect, family, cooperation, consideration, strength, and kindness. For the wolf travels in packs. They travel as a community. You've probably heard about the lone wolf. The lone wolf didn't start off alone. They started off in family. So we honor and recognize our connection not only to family with the wolf, but to one another on this planet as well, my relations. The buffalo is represented for me by the black, by that strength, that connection to Mother Earth. The buffalo is the only animal that when a winter storm is coming and approaching, all other animals will flee and look for shelter. The buffalo will turn and face into the storm and walk through the storm because they know that is how they get through to the other side sooner. The buffalo is steadfast and determined. As he heads into the winter storm, we see that strength, that faith, that perseverance. So the buffalo represents that part of ourselves, which is strength and determination. We've had a lot of issues with bears in this year, where people have died in their encounters with bears. Very unusual. I lost a dear friend to a bear attack about a month ago. One of my former colleagues at the University of Calgary was attacked from behind by a bear and pushed over a cliff near his home in Ypres and passed very suddenly. His little boy is 9 years old, and at the funeral this little boy said, "I don't hate the bears. I love the bears. The bear was just protecting her babies," which is true because it was a female sow that did attack him. And then another lady had passed, same thing. It was a female sow protecting her babies who attacked that lady just walking on her land. When I think of the eagle, I think of how high and how beautiful it soars. I wish to share with you a story about the eagle. I was in a sharing circle, and the item being passed around among us 4 women was a beautiful eagle wing that the elder had gifted us with. I was going through much trials and tribulation. I was unemployed, was facing homelessness. I just completed my university, so I was in debt. What do I do? As I held this eagle wing, I was gifted with a beautiful vision. In this vision, I was the eagle. I was flying west towards the mountains. Beneath me are these beautiful, long, silver lakes. Finger lakes, they're called, long and narrow. And as I'm flying, the setting sun hits the lakes and reflects this light up into my eyes, and I'm temporarily blinded as I'm flying. I feel this instant of panic, which is quickly replaced by this sense of safety and being held in Creator's hand, knowing that I will not fall. I may not be able to see where I'm going, but Creator can. And the eagle shows us that vision of Creator that guides us on this earth. When I think of the wolf, I think of Yellowstone, that beautiful park. They reintroduced the wolves, and it changed the course of the river because now they weren't losing all of the plants along the river to erosion by animals that were foraging there, such as the deer and the elk, and eating all of the plants that were needed to keep back the shores. So the wolves were population control, and they literally changed the course of the river. And now many more species can call Yellowstone home because of their introduction. And we are introducing more and more of them to Alberta here as well. They are sacred, and they're needed because they are thinners of the population. There is our beautiful buffalo. We just had another white buffalo calf born in Siksika, just east of Calgary. That is a sacred sign within the Blackfoot cultures, within Indigenous cultures. The white buffalo is a sign of coming peace, coming transition, coming changes. So in a way, it is our warning as well. I mentioned about each and every one of us being in balance and needing the 4 parts of who we are to be in balance. We acknowledge the physical portion, because that's what we're most familiar with, our bodies. But our bodies are literally just our cars while we're on this side. For we are, in fact, spirits inhabiting a physical plane. This is our school. This is our learning being here on the earth. We thank Creator for the physical abilities that we do have. We thank Creator for when we get sick and ill, because that teaches us to appreciate when we're healthy and well. And again, it's about that balance, about the physical, and to remain in balance, not to eat too much or too little, not to work too hard or too little, but to enjoy our physical being, our connection with our beautiful Mother Earth as we walk upon our beautiful Mother. And then we think about our heart, the emotional part of us. That is part of who we are. We have control over our emotions. Sometimes we think they have control over us. It's okay if you want to wallow in self-pity for a while, but don't rent a room there. We have reasons that we feel this sadness, and that is to appreciate when we feel joy. For that juxtaposition between sadness and joy is great, but it is like the dichotomous being of our emotional being. We honor our heart. And when we connect with people, you need to connect with them emotionally. You need to change their heart to change their mind, which is kind of the purpose of my presentation. I wish to open you up to Indigenous ways of knowing and thinking. And thinking, that's our mental being. That is where our thoughts go. And we do have control over our thoughts. And sometimes our thoughts can run away with us. And we think all kinds of things and make assumptions about people that aren't true, but they are in our mind. So recognize that the mind is but a servant of who we are. The body is but our servant. Our heart is but our servant. Our true selves are our spirit, for the spirit never dies. E equals mc squared. Einstein knew that energy does not die, and that's what a spirit is. Energy just transforms. So when we come into this earth, this plane, we enter a physical body as an infant. When we go through our life, we carry our spirit with us, and that is the part that we share with other people. And when we leave, as all those around us are crying, we smile because we know we're going home. We're going home to spirit, to those who have left us, to rejoin them. and to be prepared to help others on this side with our spirit. We honor and respect and listen quietly to our spirit. When times of confusion come, stop, sit, close your eyes. A good place to sit is right underneath the tree. Lean back against the tree and clear your mind. That tree will speak to you. Images will flash through your mind. The earth will speak to you. Things will come into your heart, feelings. You may find yourself laughing. You may find yourself weeping. But that is you connecting to spirit. And that's something you should do each and every day. Thank you, Creator, for blessings received. I say that before I go to bed. I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head and a bed to sleep in. When I wake up in the morning, thank you, Creator, for blessings received. I woke up on the right side of the lawn. I've got work to do. Again, it's about appreciation and joy. I want to talk about the medicines themselves. For me, there's 4 sacred medicines. And the first one is tobacco, which is extremely sacred in the Indigenous community. When Colleen met with me to book me as a traditional knowledge keeper, she gifted me with tobacco. And for me, tobacco is sacred because tobacco is what it represents. When you gift tobacco, you are gifting it from your heart to the person you're gifting it to Creator, making a sacred covenant. In other words, you're making a promise that's going to follow you to the other side. Not like a mortgage. But tobacco is sacred, and it shows true intent and right way of being in your heart when you give tobacco. Tobacco was never meant to be ingested. Tobacco was meant to be shared and to honor our Creator. My story about tobacco is back in the olden days when us two-leggeds were fighting amongst ourselves. Creator's creations were very worried. They went to Creator and said, Creator, those two-leggeds are going to take us all out. They're going to take us down. We've got to do something. They have no respect for you. They don't understand the connection that we're all related. What do we do? How can we communicate with these two-leggeds? The Creator said, I need one of my beautiful creations to offer itself up to be that communication tool, to have the courage to be that communication tool. Well, then the posturing started. And the sequoia says, well, I join heaven and earth. I'm the tallest tree. They should pick me. And the eagle says, well, I fly highest. I go closest to Creator. They should pick me. And the bear says, hey, I know all about when to go to bed, when to eat the berries. They should pick me. So they're arguing amongst themselves. In the meantime, this tiny little tobacco plant humbly steps forward and goes, Creator, I don't have much to offer. I am but a humble tobacco plant. I'm not much use. The two-leggeds cannot ingest me or eat me. The animals don't care to eat me. I'm not much of a food, but I'm very good fertilizer. When I die, I'm filled with nitrogen, and I empower the earth. Creator, I humbly offer myself up to you if you want to use me as a communication tool. The Creator was very impressed with the humility and the courage of this tiny little tobacco plant. Creator said, Tobacco, because of your humility and great courage, I give you the responsibility of being that communication tool. And in the Indigenous ways of knowing, it is a communication tool. When you give tobacco, you're communicating intent, truth, good heart. When you take something from Mother Earth, you never take it. You always offer a pinch of tobacco. And the reason why is because you acknowledge and you ask for permission and you give thanks with that tobacco. You hold that pinch of tobacco. Thank you, Creator, for blessings received. You sprinkle that tobacco on the ground. Thank you, Mother Earth, for the gifts of your bounty. And now you can take your gifts from Mother Earth be they sage or sweetgrass, sacred medicines, food from your garden, flowers along your path, water from a spring or a lake or a river. You honor and thank Creator for this wonderful gift of tobacco. As I said, tobacco was never meant to be ingested. When we do tobacco ceremony, what we do is we take the smoke into our cheeks to obtain our essence. We now know that's called DNA. But we take that smoke, then blow it out and use it to smudge ourselves, to cleanse our body from our head through our body down to our toes, to keep it sacred and cleanse all the negative energy out of there in a good way. And we do that 4 times during a pipe ceremony. So in other words, don't inhale if you're invited to a pipe ceremony. Follow the leader, because different nations have different pipe ceremonies. So it's about respect, it's about humility, and it's about courage to step out of your comfort zone. For me, I am a woman, and I think of sage as a woman's medicine. Sage, I pick sage up on Nose Hill in ceremony in August or September. And I pick it because this is my go-to when I smudge. People want to know, well, what is smudging? Smudging is when you light your medicines and you take the spirit of that medicine, the smoke, and you wash yourself with it like you would water. You wash your mind to clear out your negative thoughts. You wash your mouth so you speak good, clean words. You wash your ears so that you hear everything you're meant to hear. You wash your heart so that it's open to receive. You wash your spirit so that it knows your connection to Mother Earth. You wash your feet so that you are always connected to our beautiful Mother. And for me, that is represented by the woman's color, the rising sun, the gifter of life, as the woman is. Cedar, I think of as the south, that beautiful warm cedar that we use in medicine because it is a healing medicine. Cedar tea will clean you out faster than pectate. It's very healthy for you. If your feet are sore, soak your feet in warm water, cedar, crushed cedar, and Epsom salts. If you bathe, you can bathe in cedar. You can also make salves out of cedar, which will heal the lesions on your skin. Some people use it for psoriasis or eczema, but cedar is very much healing medicine. And you can have cedar in tea for that same reason, to help heal you from the inside. Cedar can also burn. And I know on the West Coast, it is an honored medicine because it is such abundance there. And they have trees that are millennia old. So we honor the strength and the healing power of the cedar. In the West, I think of the mountains, the strength of the mountains. It is a men's medicine, but it's also the children's medicine, which makes sense to me because sweetgrass opens your mind, helps you to relax when you breathe in that beautiful sweet scent, be it driving along the highway with the windows open, having a smudge with the cedar. It's a beautiful scent, and it cleanses your mind, and it helps the man to be strong. When a woman is on her time, she does not touch a man's sweetgrass because that's his sacred medicine. And to be perfectly honest, they need all the help they can get. So we respect and take pity for our men when we're on our time. When a woman is menstruating, she is called on her time. And it is because she is very strong with the women's medicine that is coursing through her body. It's a very special time for a woman to begin her periods, for it is becoming that step from a child into youth, into womanhood. We honor that sacred sage and that strength of the women. We honor and appreciate the strength of the men. We honor and appreciate our cedar and our tobacco. And tobacco, as I said, a good way to impress an elder is to give them full leaf tobacco. They love full leaf tobacco. But it's not the type of tobacco, it is the significance. If you are asking anything of an Indigenous person, be they an elder, a knowledge keeper, a child, for a song, you always gift them with tobacco. And you never refuse tobacco when somebody offers you a cigarette. You say thank you and you save it for another time. Sweetgrass grows plentifully all throughout Alberta. And sweetgrass, I'm sweetgrass challenged. I can't pick it, so I buy it. So how can I buy medicines? What I do is I share in a good way. And I go with my daughter to go and pick these medicines and to grab them in a good way. And I will buy 10 braids, she will buy 10 braids, and we will have ceremony in the parking lot as we gift one another our braids. This was brought home to me because I had sage, as you can see the sage down there. The sage sticks, I had a sage stick, and I was complaining to my elder, it won't burn, it won't burn. And she looks at me and she said, you bought it, didn't you? I go, yeah. She said, give it to me. So I did. She lit it and it promptly caught on fire. You did not have your right intent in that medicine because you bought it. By giving it to me, you put right intent in it. So remember that. If you have trouble with medicines, gift them away and have someone gift you medicine in exchange. The cedar, as you can see, there is the medicine of the cedar tree. This is the sage that we pick up on Nose Hill. This particular type of sage is known as buffalo sage. There's also prickly sage up on the hill as well. And again, it's a woman's gift to be able to have ceremony to pick sage in a good way. The cedar, this is cedar right from my front yard. I'm very blessed. Creator has gifted me a home with a cedar tree right in the front. This is the sweetgrass. Some people are very gifted when it comes to finding and cutting and braiding their sweetgrass. It is beautiful and it is considered a sacred medicine. When people give you medicine, you accept it with joy. There is what tobacco looks like before it's dried out and brown. Again, the elders really like full medicine. Again, it is about that balance. The medicine wheel is the balance, and we appreciate what we need. We need primarily air. Hold your breath. How long can you hold your breath? We need our air to survive, to breathe. In addition, we need water to live. We need our earth, which provides us with sustenance and food. And as two-leggeds, we need our fire, our warmth, to keep us warm in the winter, to cook our food, to honor our sacred medicines and those who have crossed over, to help them carry on by burning with respect when someone passes. This is what I call smudging. This person is using a feather. In my case, I like to use an eagle feather that I was gifted. And this is a sage stick. But as you can see, he's using a shell. And the reason why is the shell represents water. So you have that element of water. When you put your medicines in there, there's that element of earth. When you spark it, light it, there's that fire. And as the smoke drifts up, the spirit of the medicine, there's that element of air. So even within the smudging ceremony itself, you have that balance of the medicine wheel and the four directions. If you have any other questions that you want to ask me, I would gladly be able to help you. Also, if you want to know more ways of knowing, check out Writing Symbols Lodge at the university where I had worked for 13 years. Hopefully they'll be having more events that are now not just Zoom events, but actual in-person events coming over this coming year. I wish to thank Colleen and the Kerby Center for the opportunity to share my ways of knowing, give you a little bit of insight into the Indigenous ways of thinking, into changing your heart, and to being open and willing to accept people and recognize each and every one of us here in Canada, we are treaty people because we're Canadians. We are brothers and sisters on this planet. You, me, we are all my relations. And I wish to thank you for the opportunity to share in a good way. Thank you, Creator. Hi.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. That was just absolutely fascinating. If you would like to end your screen share,
I will.
we'll open it up for for some Q&A. I'm sure people will have lots of questions and comments for you.
Okay, I'm trying to out of my screen sharing. Stop share. There we go.
There we go.
Oh, there we are.
Yes, and from Larry Matheson, thanks, Cheryl. That was just great. And you're absolutely right. I found that very emotional as well, the spiritual, and I'm most honored to consider you to be my relation as well. So thank you very much. And I created my own will.
That's great.
So that I can refer back to that after the fact. I don't know if anyone else has, but if anybody is interested in being able to create your wheel or have that information following, please be sure to let us know. And at this time, I'll invite anyone that has any questions or would like to offer anything at all to do so using the Q&A or chat button at the bottom of our screen here.
I thought I'd end it a little bit quicker so that people could ask and could benefit from other people's questions.
No, it was wonderful. It was just like fascinating, the information as far as, the white buffalo was quite fascinating to think that maybe, yes, it's an indication of better things ahead to come. So.
And it is quite interesting to go out there and see that white buffalo. You feel that specialness of how special this little baby is.
Can the public go out and take a look?
Yes, it is open to the public.
Oh,
you can look it up online. The family has made it so that the people can come and make offerings. Oh. And again, that would be a very good opportunity for you to gift tobacco. And when I talk about gifting tobacco, everything from a pack of cigarettes, 2 cigarettes is usually the minimum. But there's also things like this. This is done by Imagination Cards. They're the only distributors in Alberta who are allowed to give out tobacco because it's traditional tobacco, organic tobacco in tins. So that's another way to get it as well. Because people are always saying, well, where do I buy tobacco from? Yes. You can get it from 7-Eleven.
Well, and as we discussed that day as well, is that a lovely traditional way of presenting it is to take that tobacco and to put it in a little pouch and tie it with a ribbon. And I know that the beautiful store out out near the Costco, I forgot now.
Tessina, the White Eagle.
White Eagle, yeah.
I love that store. I used to work for them too.
Oh, really? They've got some beautiful.
Yeah, I just had to hand over my check because I was buying too much when I was there. So.
They have beautiful items there, and they have lovely little pouches to put the tobacco in. So if anybody is looking for something along that line, Dylan, again, thank you very much for your joining us today, and you're welcome. And Darcy, thank you so much. Beautiful words shared in prayer to our Creator. You are most appreciated. And looks like perhaps Ashley. Thank you, Cheryl, for sharing your stories and teachings. You've got such a lovely voice to listen to. Thanks for inviting me. I agree with you. It was very soothing and relaxing. So thank you so much, Cheryl. And Marie says, yes, I agree with Ashley. And Molly, thanks to you, my sister. Lovely to see you, Cheryl. That was from Molly Taylor.
Hi, Molly.
A friend of yours.
Yes, I miss the university because I miss the social contact. I really miss the people.
Yes.
Not the job so much, but I miss the people.
I think we all do. We're all looking forward to getting back to the camaraderie of our offices. Elena would like to know, is the wheel used like a labyrinth?
I've seen it used that way. I've also seen labyrinths that were based sort of on top of the medicine wheel, so they kind of have the same colors, which is fine, whatever works for you. And I like that because a labyrinth is about meditation. It's about with each step you walk, you connect with the Mother Earth. So, and I've used labyrinths for that reason. And I think and I've seen that literally, it's like a labyrinth superimposed over a medicine wheel. And that's really good, I like, because it gives you that intention as you're walking with each step and you go into the different colors. So that's one thing that I do agree with. And it's, again, this is just a tool. You use it in the best way you can to connect and to find that balance within yourself, within your community, and with the other people that you deal with in your life.
Mm-hmm. It was fascinating how it was related, that spring related to infants, summer related to youth, fall related to adult, and winter related to elder. It does follow that life cycle.
Very much so.
Now we have someone, it must be a phone number here. Where do we get this? I heard imaginations. Is this a story?
Online. It's imagination, called Imagination with a capital N on nation. And they are available online. They do orders that way. And they did have a store. I don't know what happened to their store. They probably had to close that. But the best way to get it is through online, and you can order it that way. And I do agree. For me, it has much more meaning when someone gives me tobacco and it's wrapped in cloth with a ribbon, because it shows respect and it shows intent and it shows forward thinking, that you were planning this. You were very considerate and kind because you wrapped this, and you wrapped it in traditional broadcloth. Usually I like to wrap them. When I was working at the Native Center, we would always wrap our tobacco for our elders, and we would wrap them traditionally in red with a ribbon. And the significance of that red is that we are all blood brothers and sisters on this planet. So it is that connection again between who we are and our spirit, and that balance when we relate to one another. And it shows great respect and kindness when you gift tobacco in a very good way. I know that it's hard when you're doing Zoom presentations, so I was very grateful that you came physically to give me the tobacco. Thank you very much, Colleen.
Oh, it's our honor to have you here. And I was really looking forward to your teachings and learning more about the traditions and culture. So thank you. El Garcia, thank you for the information, and inspiring and such a great speaker. Alberto, thanks for joining us again, Alberto. No other comments, very enlightening and an eye-opener. Linda, thank you so much for sharing warmth and friendliness. It gives hope for us as people really living and being together. That's a great comment, Linda. R. Bergman, the invitation to be brothers and sisters on this earth is always a refreshing invitation. Thank you. And yes, we will be recording this and having it posted on our Kerby Center YouTube channel, where you're invited to go visit and subscribe, and you'll see this presentation once we have it ready and up there. We will share the link for everyone.
And, thank you so much, Colleen. That's great, because I had people asking as well. So this is good to know. These are good teachings.
We'll hand it over to our digital manager to weave his magic, and then we'll let everybody know what the link, so that they can go visit here imminently. Shirley, thank you very much. Cheryl, lovely to listen to. Brenda, yes, we just referred to the recording. We'll get that to you. I was writing and trying to keep up. I'd like to hear it with greater intention. So I think she would like to be able to view.
I think so. I think you've got some people who'd like to watch it again, which is great. That is just fine. That is
And Lorraine, thank you so much for sharing the knowledge in such a kind, gentle, and inspiring way. So grateful to be included as your sister. Hey. And we have a few in the Q&A here as well. Maureen, thanks for joining us again today. Wow, that was fantastic. I feel so close to all the aspects of the medicine wheel. I know that we should not lump all Indigenous people together. How widespread is the use of the medicine wheel among the many Indigenous groups in Canada?
Very widespread in Canada, but it's also an international thing as well. And I say that because I connected with the Ashwar people, and there's so many more things that we have in common than we do that separates us. And I think that is the gift, is that we are brothers and sisters on this planet, and we have more in common. I have spoken at a number of, I just started speaking at vigils again, and there was a vigil held by the Muslim community for the loss of that family of 4 that was run over. And again, that was hate. That is hate acting out. But that we share with them and we mourn with them, just as they mourned with us when we found out about the children. We share and we come together to mourn in a good way. And it's been hard with the pandemic because we haven't been able to go to our funerals or any times of joy either, births and weddings, but especially funerals, because we need to be able to cry with one another. And it feels empty somehow when you don't have that opportunity to come together as community.
Mhm.
So I was very blessed and very welcomed to share greetings from the Indigenous community when I spoke at these vigils, and to let them know that we hurt too. When our brothers and sisters hurt, we hurt too.
Yeah, absolutely right. Anonymous would like to know, where is the sage on Nose Hill? Is there any particular area?
There's a story there, actually. We've been picking sage there for over 15 years, and when we first went up there to do it in ceremony, there was a little bit of sage on one hill, little bit. So we kind of camped there, the women's ceremony. We had our circle, had our ceremony, and we picked what was there. And you never pick completely. You only pick, you always offer tobacco, because the tobacco is a natural fertilizer. And when you pick the sage, you snap it off at the root, so the roots stay underneath. The mother is still there. And you never completely pick out a whole area. You only take a third of what's in that area. So you always leave. Again, it's about sustainability. Well, speaking about sustainability, you go up there now, and because we've been doing this every year in the right way, that area of sage has spread and covers now 4 hills right in the center of Nose Hill. There's a sidewalk that goes off from Edgemont, the Edgemont parking lot, and if you take that straight east, you will run into sage, because that is where we were picking, and that's where we were doing the sustainability, putting down tobacco, leaving the mother there and the seeds as well. And because it's not just sage up there. There's other medicines as well. There's yarrow, there's rose hips, there's Saskatoons. There's beautiful medicines up there, and there's 2 different kinds of sage, as I mentioned. There's the buffalo sage, and there's the prickly sage. There's also other medicines up there that I don't know all the medicines up there, but I know it would be good to go with somebody who does, to know how to pick it in a good way. As I mentioned, it is a women's ceremony, and that's my teachings. I know working at the Native Center, we would give men sage that they would use for their smudging, which would be fine. But they knew better than to come into the room when we were doing the sage. They would just sort of stand at the door and kind of wait. They could feel that energy, that female energy, and they respected that. So it is right up there on the hill, and you have to do it in the right way. Always, always, always offer tobacco. And the nice part about doing it in ceremony is we offer song as well. And I'd like to end this with a song, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. And normally I would drum, but I find with the Zoom, it doesn't always work that way. It kind of goes out. So I have my beautiful trusty rattle right here. And what I'm going to sing is Winda Yahoo. I learned it as a 4 Direction song, the 4 Winds song. And yes, you can find it on YouTube as a Cherokee morning song, but this is how I know it. And it honors the teachings of the medicine wheel and the 4 directions in that sense of balance. This is Winda Yahoo. Winda Yahoo, Winda Yahoo, Winda Yah, Winda Yah. Oh, 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 ha, ya, ya, ya. Windy, yahoo, windy, yahoo, windy, windy, oh, 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 ha, ya, ya, ya. Windy, yahoo, windy, yahoo, windy, windy, oh, 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 ya, ya, ya. Windy, yahoo, windy, yahoo, windy, windy, oh, 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 ya, 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 ya. Hey, blessings.
Blessings, as we did at the beginning.
From our heart up to Creator, to all that's enclosed.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And Ashley has just posted a little heart here as well. And so we'll close off. We do have one more quick question here, Linda. Have you seen it used in wedding ceremonies? Friends of mine were married that way years ago by someone trained by Lakota Sioux teachings.
Yes, yes, I have. I've been to weddings and I've actually performed a wedding. So I use them in my weddings very much so because it is about coming together and it's about joining the two dichotomous man and woman or woman and woman or man and man, whatever. It's about love. Love is love is love. And it is about coming together and honoring all that is in the relationship. And that's the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful and the joy. So
Absolutely.
yes, yes, very much.
Before we close out here, you referred to picking the sage in the right way and female ceremonies and that kind of thing. Do you offer, or is there anyone else that offers that kind of thing that we can?
I do go up there when people ask. I went twice last year, and I brought up a larger group from the university, and because it was outside, we were able to have. There was 13 of us women. And we picked enough sage for the Native Center at the university, or I should call it Writing Symbols Lodge, to last them the year because they smudge quite a bit, and people go to them for at the university to get this sage. So yes, I went with a group from the university, and then I went with a couple of master's students as well who were doing studies in Indigenous studies. So if people will ask me, I will make a point of coming up and inviting them. Also, the Writing Symbols Lodge does a women's ceremony right out of there. I know they did it virtually last year, and I'm not sure if they're going to be doing it virtually again this year. They may not have to. They may actually be able to go out on the hill. So, but it's good because you get those teachings and you get the ceremony, and it's done in a good way. And I really like going and doing ceremony on the hill. Especially with other women. There's the power of getting the women together with purpose and intent and to pick the medicine in a good way so it has that energy. And for me, I leave my sage on the stem because my teachings are that when you take it off, you put your energy into that sage. And when you roll it into a ball, you're putting your energy into it. So your energy and your intent is what's coming up through that beautiful spirit of the medicine with this month.
Well, I hope to stay in touch with you and that perhaps we could make some arrangements, and you do that in the fall?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
well, let's stay in touch. Maybe we could put a little something together. And
love to be able to do that. I would be humbled and honored to be able to share those teachings in a very good and humble way. Thank you.
All right. Well, we've gone over just a little bit. I think we've answered most of the questions. Linda says she'd love to do that as well. So we'll try and keep everybody informed here. And I look forward to building upon our relationship. Thank you so much, Cheryl. This was most meaningful today.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, like I said, to share in a good way. And it makes a wonderful day for Indigenous Peoples Day because we honor the spirit of the Indigenous people, but the fact that we are all Indigenous at some point, some 900 years back for some of us, but we all are brothers and sisters on this planet.
Absolutely. And there is a lot, there's a multitude of things that are taking place throughout Canada today. So I would encourage you today to take a look at what else is happening out there. There's other presentations and things going on, and just to be able to get a little more in depth into the culture. And today, thank you once again to Cheryle Chagnon-Greyeyes for your very meaningful presentation, and to Alberta Securities Commission once again for your support of our presentation and ongoing support of Kerby Centre. So thank you all for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you.
Thank you.